is not. He's now considering all options, including legal routes, to stop his younger brother, who he views as a treacherous.
From the moment the private DNA test arrived on the palace desk, Princess Anne wasted no time, cutting through the tension like a blade and outright rejecting it. The declaration struck swiftly, sending ripples through the monarchy's inner circles as the Sovereign Succession Security Council sprang back to life, dusting off protocols long dormant, while the Royal Lineage Ethics Commission, RLE, convened an emergency session that could tilt the very foundations of Windsor tradition. The announcement of a formal bloodline freeze order ignited shockwaves. Archie and Lilette Diana Mountbatten-Windsor were stripped of their princely titles, leaving Harry to navigate Britain as a private citizen rather than an exile. Now, a father wandering the precarious line between national law and global scrutiny, he carried the weight of 2 young lives under the unforgiving gaze of the world. The royal family, steeled in tradition and hierarchy, refused to acknowledge a single signature that might reverse the decree. Harry had not only lost the protective shield of his royal status, but also any hope of returning unscathed. The choices before him were stark: live under the shadow of the February 27th decree for life, or engage in one final high-stakes legal battle against the blood that had given him life itself, with no private lab report to shield him. Regardless of the gloss of the binder sent across the Atlantic, Princess Anne's declaration resounded with authority, her clipped diction reverberating through the chilly forecourt of Marlborough House. That single sentence detonated months of whispered speculation regarding the bloodline file. The investigation had transcended rumour. This was now constitutional combat, unfolding openly in the full glare of the public eye. Journalists quickly obtained a copy of the rejected 72-page dossier, couriered directly from Montecito, signed meticulously by Prince Harry. The documents included a California paternity test for Archie Harrison Mountbatten-Windsor, sworn statements from Meghan, and ultrasound images intended to eliminate every lingering doubt. The level of detail was staggering and scandalous, ready to ignite tabloid frenzy. Phones across Whitehall vibrated with urgent messages as Anne authorized an emergency order that resurrected the Sovereign Succession Security Council, a body dormant since the abdication crisis of 1936. By lunchtime, retired MI6 analysts, royal archivists, and a former Lord Chief Justice were navigating the chandeliers and polished floors of Lancaster House, clutching sealed briefing packs that could reshape centuries of royal protocol. Anne's next move stunned even seasoned courtiers. She summoned the brand new Royal Lineage Ethics Commission, RLE, a 7-member panel that fused secular law with sacred counsel. Dame Eleanor Fiske, ex-Supreme Court Justice, Dr. Rowan Lang, Oxford historian of the monarchy, Canon Michael Habers, legal emissary of the Archbishop of Canterbury, Sir Benedict Wright, former director of military forensics, and 3 additional members whose names remained redacted for operational security, an unprecedented act in centuries of royal procedure. The commission would judge questions of birth certificates and baby bumps openly, not behind brocade drapes. High-resolution imagery, showing Meghan Markle sporting a low, rounded silhouette at 10 a.m. on March 5, 2019, shifted to a noticeably flatter profile by 4 p.m. the same day, complete with creasing that digital texture analysts insisted behaved more like neoprene than human dermis. Royal surgeons were conspicuously absent. Neither Sir Marcus Sell nor Dr. Georg Beeson, who had signed off on every Cambridge birth, attested to Meghan's delivery. Archie's birth record had been quietly amended. 27 days post-registration, Meghan's legal name was replaced with her HRH style, a modification unseen in modern royal practice. A flagged wire transfer of $499,000 from RQL LLC to a Baha Biomed specializing in gestational surrogacy landed just 5 days before Archie's announced birth, directly clashing with the centuries-old born of the body doctrine codified under Queen Anne in 1705. Meanwhile, the council meticulously gathered dossiers and cross-verified timelines. King Charles III held a hushed meeting with his private secretary, Sir Clive Alderton. Eyewitnesses described the monarch as ashen-faced yet resolute. No statements were made publicly, only the faint scent of cedar ink from freshly drafted letters lingering in the room. Meanwhile, Prince William issued a brief comment through Kensington Palace. Continuity rests on duty before sentiment. My great-grandfather, George VI, taught that the crown endures when service is unbroken. The line referencing the wartime king ignited social feeds, praising William's stoic guardianship of tradition at Frogmore Cottage. Shuttered gates framed a lone protester, waving a placard reading, "Blood is greater than brand." The sentiment lambasted Harry as a man trading heritage for headlines. Across the Atlantic, late-night talk shows dissected the showdown between enforcer and exiled prince. February 26, 2026, dawned with a lone transatlantic ping appearing on London Flight Information Region screens. GLFG 650, call sign WYD 722, inbound from Van Nuys, California. Control towers relayed landing codes to RAF Northolt. Civilian traffic was diverted into holding stacks. 32 minutes later, the jet pierced low stratus clouds, navigation lights blinking like distress flares against a pewter sky. No line of uniformed footmen greeted the party, no band heralded their arrival. Instead, an armoured Ministry of Defence convoy idled beside Hangar 211 as rear doors popped open. Hazard lights flashed, and body-armoured specialists from the Defence Science and Technology Laboratory fanned out with sealed cryogenic kits. Inside the aircraft, a gaunt, pale, sleep-starved Prince Harry ushered two bewildered children down the stairs. The absence of Meghan was immediately noticed. She remained thousands of miles west, drafting a counter-narrative poised to detonate before lunchtime. The convoy sped across an empty A40 spur under police filters. Destination, quarantine. Top floor of King Edward II Hospital, historically reserved for monarchs recovering from surgery overnight. Modi biomedical teams had converted the floor into a miniature forensic wing, complete with positive pressure airlocks, tamper-proof refrigerators, and digital video recording on every workstation. Procedures mirrored nuclear security protocols, not due to doubts over DNA, an officer whispered, but because the world questioned the process itself. Prince Harry signed a consent form under the witness of a High Court judge. Buccal swabs were collected from him and the children, sealed in isotope-numbered vials, encrypted in a mode chain of custody ledger, and flown via helicopter to Port and Downs Genomics Unit. Total elapsed time, 41 minutes. A Palisade analyst whispered that no royal birth had ever been scrutinized so microscopically, not even George VI's emergency caesarean in 1894. As centrifuges spun, journalist phones buzzed with notifications of a new video premiere, A Mother's Truth. Meghan's face filled the screen against a stark white backdrop. No jewelry, no title, only raw emotion. They demanded my children's blood to prove they deserve to exist, she said, voice catching. This isn't lineage, it's control, masquerading as tradition. 8 minutes later, #LetThemBeRoyal trended across 73 countries, from Sao Paulo to Sydney. Protesters crowded consulates chanting, DNA is not equal to dynasty. Inside Marlborough House, Princess Anne watched the clip, exhaled and turned to her private secretary. Feelings do not overturn statutes, she said firmly. The Royal Lineage Ethics Commission convened its second plenary in the Long Gallery, oak shutters drawn to block camera lenses. Sir Benedict Wright presented satellite time-stamped imagery confirming the Mexican wire transfer. Dame Eleanor Fiske outlined case law from Princess Sophia's Naturalization Act 1717, reaffirming the born of the body precedent. Canon Habers read excerpts from an 18th century Lambeth memorandum equating gestation by substitute with dynastic dilution. Every citation tightened the legal vice around Archie and Lilette's status, yet the commissioners acted with clinical empathy. A minute of silence acknowledged the human toll of two innocent lives caught in constitutional crossfire. From the gilded music room of Kensington Palace, the Prince of Wales addressed assembled correspondents. "My duty is older than myself and larger than my grief." He recalled King George VI's broadcast to embattled Britain, reminding all that heritage cannot be abridged for convenience nor outsourced to private litigants, no matter the love involved. The speech lasted 4 minutes, but reverberated through the Commons chamber where MPs had been poised to question the government on foreign aid. Several rows applauded. A breach of decorum the prince ignored. Online comment pages erupted with praise for William, continuity prince, a monarch in waiting who grasps modern transparency. Once samples were dispatched, Harry and the children were relocated to Adelaide Cottage Annex, redecorated overnight with child-safe furnishings and a discreet panic room, televisions disabled, phones confiscated to prevent leaks. Staff reported Archie asking if he could still call himself. Sir Harry allegedly answered, "Titles don't matter, heart does." Archie wept in the ensuite across the estate. Princess Catherine sent a hamper of picture books and ginger biscuits. Harry's thank you, relayed through security, read simply, "For their comfort, not mine." A guard remarked, "Comfort is no substitute for legitimacy." A red-stamped cable reached Marlborough House. Paternal match conclusive, greater than 99.998%. Biologically, Harry was unquestionably the father. Legally, the question had shifted from paternity to protocol. Sir Benedict reminded the room, succession is not a blood test. It is a covenant with history. Consensus solidified that if surrogacy allegations proved true, they could eclipse DNA results. Queen Camilla confided privately that Anne's firmness was a mercy in disguise, preventing tabloids from drip-feeding corrosive rumours. For years, the Duke of Edinburgh had cautioned that truth required both oxygen and speed. Nevertheless, the interim minute was signed. Outside, a candlelit vigil along Constitution Hill formed, with domino-sized portraits of Archie and Lilette. A banner read, "Let the little ones be little ones." In the Privy Purse office, King Charles examined drafts of letters patent, ink scratched, paused and scratched again. The document suspended princely style. Interim, pending constitutional conformity, echoing Edward II's temporary deprivation orders against minor dukedoms during the Boer War. Once more, sentiment bowed to statute. Charles signed but withheld publication, whispering to Sir Clive Alderton, "Give the boy one night to breathe." Sir Clive couriered the sealed note to Adelaide Cottage. "Tomorrow at dawn, you must choose," inside sources said. Harry read it 3 times, placing it face down beside a family photograph from 2 years earlier, already curling at the edges. Mist curled over frozen lawns as a lone Land Rover Defender rolled toward Adelaide Cottage Annex. Inside, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Wakefield carried Princess Anne's most discreet decamp, a diplomatic pouch sealed with crimson wax. The Port and Downs genome report lay within, still warm from the laser printer that had spat it out scarcely 90 minutes earlier. Wakefield passed the automatic bollards, produced a biometric pass, and proceeded straight to the drawing room, where Princess Anne, already in a hacking jacket and gloves, awaited by the hearth. The wax broke crisply under her fingers, releasing a faint scent of history, and Princess Anne scanned the executive summary with a gaze as sharp as a dagger. After a single, curt nod, she confirmed the stark truth. The fatherhood percentage had risen yet again. Biologically, paternity was absolute, but line 12, the clause noting the absence of evidence that gestational origin occurred within the maternal body, was the missile that detonated against centuries of tradition. Folding the document neatly, she pocketed it with a murmured, "Truth confirmed." Tradition, as immutable as marble, had just been tested, and within the hour, 16 Privy Councillors flooded into the ballroom at Buckingham Palace. The assembly was so sudden and urgent that 2 ministers arrived in mismatched shoes, their haste betraying the gravity of the moment. Sir Clive Alderton opened the proceedings, voice calm yet commanding. "Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal requests the endorsement of letters patent of abans," as a low, anxious gasp rippled across the walnut-polished table. The Solicitor General outlined the legal spine underpinning the decision. citing both the Bill of Rights of 1689 and the Letters Patent of 1917. He reminded the Assembly that any departure from the born of the body requirements might warrant suspension of style and precedence until Parliament determined otherwise. The Council, fully aware of the historical weight, stamped unanimous approval in just 12 minutes, setting a modern record of procedural speed, eclipsing even the wartime naturalization orders of 1914. The room buzzed, half in awe, half in disbelief. King Charles III entered the Privy Chamber, appearing a decade older, his normally composed demeanour edged with lines of strain. He listened intently as Sir Clive recited the DNA surrogacy contradiction, then, with a steady hand, signed the letters patent using a fountain pen that had once belonged to his grandfather. A green ribbon threaded through the document, the Great Seal pressed decisively. Title suspension was now law, effective immediately. As dawn broke over the city, Charles added an 11th-hour modification, a coil of mercy. Archie and Lilette would retain their surname, Mountbatten-Windsor, but relinquish HRH and princely rank until the royal birth protocol could be regularised through active parliamentary action. Whispered later, this was regarded as the king's final olive branch, a shredded, crumpled offering perhaps, but still an olive branch. Outside, the media braced for spectacle, expecting a marble lectern and pomp. Instead, Prince William strode onto the stone footbridge over the palace lake, wind slapping his coat, the echoes of King George VI and his grandmother's 70-year reign whispering in his ears. The crown survives by aligning heart with history, he declared, gaze direct into the lens. Service is our charter, not sentiment. Where precedent collides with modern preference, precedent must prevail, or sovereignty evaporates into fashion. His words cut through the morning chill like a blade. I love my brother, yet I love the integrity of the monarchy more, he continued, unwavering. There can be no errors by convenience. The feed abruptly cut, and social channels erupted, divided, half lauding William as a steadfast anchor, half accusing him of bureaucratic barbarism. Inside Adelaide Cottage, Sir Alan Dacre, keeper of the Privy Purse, delivered the signed patent to Prince Harry. The prince was granted just 30 minutes to decide whether to accept private citizen status in Britain or return to California. Harry paced between twin beds where Archie and Lilette were colouring, oblivious to the storm swirling outside, rubbing a coin between his fingers, a memorial guinea his mother had once given him for luck. Witnesses said he phoned Meghan. The call lasted 5 tense minutes, heavy with silence. He then summoned Lieutenant Colonel Wakefield and uttered simply, "Tell my father, thank you for the night to breathe." Decision made. A 6-vehicle convoy rolled silently out through the Albert Gate, curtains drawn over the rear windows. Crowds lining Constitution Hill hurled a soundtrack of conflicting cries. "Traitor! Stay strong, Harry!" He kept the children's heads down, repeating calmly, "We're going on holiday." No one cheered. No one booed. The city seemed to hold its breath as the black cars vanished toward RAF Northolt. 17 minutes after takeoff, Meghan's follow-up broadcast, Lineage Loss, premiered on her unbranded YouTube channel. The production values had skyrocketed, cinematic lighting, swelling strings, a lower third ticker reading Historical Injustice Live. She framed the suspension as genetic apartheid cloaked in ermine, and within an hour, 6 civil rights NGOs issued statements of grave concern. Yet British commentators noted the deliberate absence of one critical phrase: surrogacy Labour's shadow. The Lord Chancellor requested an emergency question. The Attorney General replied that letters patent were non-justiciable acts of state, triggering backbench fury. Surprisingly, Tory traditionalists and Republican liberals united in one consensus. The monarchy had proven it could police itself without taxpayer-funded whitewash committees. Approval ratings surged. Princess Anne and William spiked 9 points in the OFV Snap poll. Released at tea time during a children's hospice opening in Reading, the Princess of Wales, clad in simple navy, spoke softly. "Duty is the most reliable language of love." Tabloids spun it as a veiled message to Harry. A volunteer later tweeted, "She looked sad, yet unshakable, like someone holding up the roof while others argue outside." The post garnered 400,000 likes within 4 hours. CNN panels dissected the monarchy, noting it had tightened 1,000-year-old screws against 21st century public relations. Francine Katz, the Princess Anne un Dame affair commentator on Windsor Al Jazeera, debated colonial echoes versus constitutional hygiene in Toronto. Loyalist Canadians hoisted Union flags in support. Los Angeles woke to a mural overnight depicting Meghan shielding her children from a crimson crown on Sunset Boulevard. Kensington Palace released a single photograph. William and Anne seated before a modest grate, firelight dancing across a red leather dossier resting on a low table between them. No caption beyond 2 words. For continuity. Body language experts highlighted William's forward-leaning, engaged posture, determined, while Anne's arms were folded, protective of the document that had rewritten her nephew's future. The court circular entered a terse line by warrant of letters patent. The styles of Prince and Princess, formerly pertaining to Archie Mountbatten-Windsor and Lilette Mountbatten-Windsor, are held in abeyance. Their place in the line of succession is likewise suspended pending constitutional regularization. This marked the first such entry since German cousins' titles were stripped during World War I. For palace archivists, the ledger smelled of history and severance, a reminder that monarchy sometimes amputates itself to survive. Editorials praised William's horizon of ethics, crediting him with keeping the institution modern, yet anchored. Letters to the Times commended a prince treating service not as garnish, but as oxygen, countering backlash in talk shows. Yet radio callers decried opportunism, accusing Harry of parachuting his children into the UK to salvage Netflix deals. Hashtag Crown Not Clout trended for 36 hours. A matte grey courier envelope, stamped top secret, hand-delivered to HRH only, arrived at the King's Country Retreat. A single sheet bore the sworn statement of Marina Velasquez, former finance manager for the Biomed Velasquez, now under Mexican federal protection. She claimed she personally processed the $499,000 transfer from RQ LLC on May 1, 2019. 5 days before Archie's public birth announcement. The accompanying NDA listed the intended mother's details. Princess Anne read the affidavit twice, eyes flint hard. The money trail, NDA, and clinic record converged. She picked up the phone and convened the RLE chair. "Within the hour," she said, "we move from probability to certainty." Outside, frost melted into drizzle as royal staff sensed another seismic bulletin was imminent. Leaks reached Fleet Street before commissioners had poured their coffee. Columnists rewrote headlines: "Surrogacy smoking gun, bloodline, hoax confirmed." MPS on both benches demanded an emergency session to debate modernisation of succession law. The Home Secretary cautioned, "This is not a legislative sprint, it is a constitutional marathon." From Montecito, Harry's counsel filed a notice with the London High Court seeking an injunction to halt publication of any unverified foreign testimony. Yet the plea arrived after Velasquez's credentials had been double validated by the Foreign Office. Interpol judges scheduled a mid-March hearing, too late to stem the tide. Kensington Palace released a concise infographic timeline, arrows, payment codes, NDA excerpts, all stamped RLY verified. Within an hour, it amassed 5 million impressions. Comment threads overflowed with praise. Transparent monarchy. Atop replies, a refrain, William serves, Harry swerves. Tourists spotted Charles and Camilla stepping onto the centre balcony, hand in hand, wordless, gazing over the Victoria Memorial. No address, no wave, just the weight of truth, heavy, unavoidable. Commentators noted the release avoided direct reference to the Velasquez affidavit. Former Royal Press Secretary James Cartwright quipped on BBC Radio 4, "The silence around the central fact is ear-splitting." University rolling polls reflected public sentiment. Anne's approval 68%, William's 71%, Harry's plunged to 19% among 18 to 30-year-olds. Traditionally sympathetic Sussex branding approval split evenly. The tide had truly turned. In a private recording for the Royal Archives, the Princess Royal summed up the day. Tradition is not chains, it is ballast. Remove it, and the ship of state tips with every wave. My brother's children remain loved members of our family, but the crown cannot bend its keel for affection. Historians predicted this clip would one day rank alongside George VI's 6 wartime broadcasts. Proof that unvarnished duty can command modern respect. The court circular appended a single devastating line. Affidavit of Marina Velázquez entered into the Royal Lineage Ethics Docket as Exhibit RLE12. Findings upheld. The monarchy itself inhaled sharply, waiting. The surrogacy narrative was now fully enshrined in the royal record, cementing a reality that Archie and Lit would never walk the path back under easy terms. What had once been a steep climb for legal and dynastic recognition now loomed as a sheer cliff, jagged and impossible to scale without risking everything. The oak panel chamber of the House of Commons Constitutional Affairs Select Committee filled methodically, the scent of polished wood and ink thick in the air. The antique clock struck 8, each tick reverberating like a drumbeat of inevitability. Sir Roderick Haynes, white-haired and revered, the man once known as the archivist of statute, lifted his gavel, its leather binding worn smooth from decades of service, and opened the most consequential hearing on succession law since the long-shadowed days of 1937. His voice carried through the chamber, rich with authority and tempered by years of parliamentary battle. The agenda was precise, yet fraught with potential political tremors that could ripple across continents. Item 1. The committee would examine whether the centuries-old principle of born of the body should be reiterated, revised, or repealed entirely in light of modern reproductive science. Box files labelled Velázquez affidavit line lined the clerk's tables like silent jurors, each page a mute witness to history, its presence heavier than any gavel strike. Path A, reaffirmation, sought to codify born of the body into law, explicitly forbidding succession from any future surrogate births without explicit parliamentary consent, a return to the foundations of dynastic security. Path B, modernisation, proposed a cautious update. Legitimacy would require genetic descent from at least one sovereign parent, retroactively validating Archie and Lilette without fully dismantling centuries of precedent. Path C, abolition, favoured by Republican-leaning MPs, would remove biological tests entirely, limiting royal status to those holding HRH at the date of accession. The implications were profound. Whichever path was chosen, 15 Commonwealth realms with mirrored succession laws would be affected. A live video link flickered to Ottawa. Prime Minister Mark Carney, composed and precise, addressed the committee. Canada will not re-entrench bloodline barriers that flout modern equality, he said. The statement landed like mortar shells, reverberating through the chamber. Observers noted Canberra's foreign minister, hinting that Australia might follow suit. Headlines screamed, "Whitehall risks fracturing the Commonwealth crown." On Parliament Square, rival rallies erupted, banners waved defiantly. Tradition is stability, clashed with neon signs shouting, "DNA is not equal to destiny." Police kettled the crowds, carefully maintaining control, while high above office blinds twitched as analysts monitored sentiment graphs. Support for Path A, the traditionalist route, held a slight plurality of 46%, though mostly among voters over 45. Younger Britons leaned toward Path B, citing technological inevitability and the impossibility of ignoring reproductive science. Observers noted the Prince of Wales had submitted a sealed memorandum to the committee, emphasising that any reform must preserve the Crown's capacity for impartial service. The phrasing echoed the careful continuity of his late grandmother's 2020 Christmas broadcast, deliberate and precise. From Switzerland, Meghan's legal team filed urgent communication with the UN Human Rights Council, alleging discriminatory denial of identity rights for her children. Rapid action was unlikely due to procedural hurdles, yet the manoeuvre signalled an intent to internationalise the dispute, painting Westminster as a relic clinging to outdated practices. Meanwhile, Defence committees briefed on Arctic patrols paused, tracking the unfolding dynastic chessboard with barely concealed fascination. When asked whether Path B could heal the fractured family, Princess Anne's expression remained impassive, unyielding. "You cannot cauterize a fracture by pouring ink over the bone," she said, the slightest inflection betraying her steel. Then, helmeted, unruffled, she strode on. Twitter exploded. Admirers posted ceaselessly. "Anne is the monarchy's iron tendon." #ballast not chains trended for 6 straight hours. The clerk circulated a provisional summary. Path A was favoured by a majority. Subject to humanitarian safeguards, Parliament could reaffirm tradition while carving a one-off mechanism for existing minors, allowing Archie and Lilette nominal courtesy titles without succession rights, a compromise balancing affection and hierarchy, spanning oceans from London to Montecito. Sunset bled through Montecito glass as Harry watched BBC World tickers crawl. Friends said he whispered, "Courtesy is crumbs," before closing the curtains. A draft op-ed, partly apology, partly explanation, lay unsent on his laptop. Ipsos's late edition placed public trust in the monarchy at 64%, up 5 points from pre-crisis, crediting Anne and William's measured firmness. Commentators noted the paradox. The stricter the crown policed itself, the stronger its popular shield. Clerks locked away documents for overnight encryption, knowing the next day would finalise language potentially defining royal blood for centuries, or opening the door to reform outside St Stephen's Tower. The bells tolled 11. London drifted into uneasy quiet. After 2 sleepless nights, the committee voted 12-5 to endorse Path A, with the humanitarian clause intact. Archival tradition prevailed. Born of the body became statutory text for the first time in 3 centuries. Archie and Lilette were granted the styles of Lord and Lady as minors, born in good faith and relying on parental representation. Reporters hailed it as a Solomon split. Bloodline sealed, innocence preserved. Cameras cut to the blue drawing room. King Charles III, silver waistcoat against Wedgwood walls, addressed 42 million viewers. This statute safeguards the crown while showing charity to children untouched by dissent. Service perseveres when law and empathy walk together. His voice wavered once, only briefly, as he thanked his sister Anne, whose fidelity to principle acted as stern mercy. Princess Anne released a 9-word statement, "Duty done. May harmony one day follow understanding." Prince William tweeted, "Grief is the price of service. Service must be paid." At Montecito dawn, Prince Harry's spokesperson issued a statement. "Our children remain collateral of an archaic system, vowing further legal appeals." Canberra signalled a referendum study. Ottawa tabled succession modernisation papers. Analysts braced for a domino effect until Wellington broke the pattern. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon declared, "New Zealand welcomes the United Kingdom's clarity. We shall mirror the statute affirming the Crown's continuity. Modern, yes, but moored." 6 micro-realms expressed provisional alignment, diluting Republican momentum. A vellum copy of the Succession Assurance Act 2026 rode the Gold Staff relay from the Lords to Buckingham Palace. Charles, flanked by Black Rod and the Clerk of the Parliaments, etched goosequill strokes into constitutional granite, architects mapping commemorative illumination across the Eastern Front, intertwined monograms, C, 3R and AE Anne Elizabeth. Crowds cheered, though pockets of protest held candles. Drone footage captured symbolic duality, half the facade glowing royal gold, half unlit inside Clarence House. Charles hosted a silent supper. Anne, William and the Queen Consort sat. A single chair remained empty. Placecard, Henry. Its quiet presence marked both closure and ache. The court circular closed the saga. Royal assent given this day to the Succession Assurance Act 2026. Styles of Lord Archie, Mountbatten Windsor, and Lady Lilette, Mountbatten Windsor, entered into precedence absent succession. With that, the monarchy completed the sharpest self-correction of the modern age, affirming that in Windsor arithmetic, duty is greater than DNA, and DNA is greater than desire. Some hailed the resolve, others mourned the rigidity, but none could deny that the Crown had proven its oldest rule, enduring, unbowed and unbroken. Follow along for more inside accounts and updates on the modern monarchy, its trials and triumphs. Subscribe to stay in the loop on every historic turn.